What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel. I thought I'd take you guys back to what I'm calling the perfect cabin spot. We've had 3 or 4 different places, different sites that we've picked out and we've developed, and every one of them have had an issue. You know, it's either access issues like being able to get the truck back there on location to deliver the materials, to work on it, you know, things like that. You know, Chloe, this way. Don't go in that pond, girl. She's trying to go swimming. It's way too cold for that. But anyway, I wanted to take you guys back here and show you the spot we picked out. And let me spin the camera around. Okay. You can see here where Chloe's standing. There's a little 2-track road. If you want to call it that, it's really just where people have been driving forever. There's no gravel on it or anything like that. And it's really sandy right there around that turn. So I'm definitely going to have to do some work there. And the camera really doesn't show it, but it kind of drops off pretty heavily right here. I'm probably 3 feet higher than she is right there. So really what I want to do is bring a bunch of clay in there because I've got clay all over this place. I'd like to bring in a whole bunch of red clay and build that up and pack it down. And right over here, kind of bring it up to almost about halfway up where that hump is right there. You know, so bring all that dirt up, and right over here is the pond. So that's one of the reasons we like this spot back here. Hopefully this camera is doing it justice, picking it up well. I got to try to remember to move real slow because when you whip around with these cameras, it looks like crap. I'm just shooting on my cell phone today, but just over here at the land doing a little work, and I thought I'd show you guys where we think the perfect spot for a cabin will be. Now, my 2-track road continues on back this way. And that's just, to me, that's really beautiful. It twists and turns back there. It goes straight for a good ways, but it twists and turns. Now there is a big ditch down here. And so that's the backside of where the pond is. That's the pond dam right there. But a lot of my property, probably about half of it or a little more than half of it, is like this right here. Just dense, overly dense tree forest like this, where there are so many trees growing that none of them really stand a chance of getting big and bulky. So what needs to happen is it needs to be thinned out eventually, and I'd like to turn some of it into silvopasture, but that's a different video for a different day. You can kind of see right here where my Suburban was parked before, and we pulled up in here. Now this is all fairly sandy right in here, so I'm going to have to do something to stiffen it up a bit. I don't know if I'll just come in here and put some landscape fabric type stuff down, road fabric down or something like that, and then put gravel on top of that, or put clay in, then put gravel in. I don't know. Haven't decided yet, but I'm going to have to do something because even just pulling the Suburban in there, I was spinning out on the sand. It's a steep enough incline there that I'm going to have to do something about it. But we started working over here and talking, hey, wouldn't it be cool to have a cabin right by the pond? And so we opened this up, and you can just see here how open this is. And I had 2 sites in mind, either right here, this area right here where we've cleared out a patch, or right up here where we've cleared out another little spot. And while this spot here is a little smaller, when we get in here, I'll show you some good shots of it. You can see we were playing around the other day when my wife and I were over here. We raked the leaves out of there, and we, put these boards down. As we cut down the different trees, we put these logs down to mark our spots and stuff, and try to figure out, what kind of a footprint we could get in here. Now that is relatively close to that tree. It's about 5 foot, I'd say, to that tree. This little tree right here would have to come out. There was a couple more that are going to have to come out because we plan on building a porch out here in front of this. So, and when I say cabin, for one thing, I don't have the right kind of timber here on this land to do like a Lincoln log, wood cabin. I would love to, but I don't have as much of that kind of wood that I would need. And you can even that stuff is not very straight. So I'm just not in the right zone to build a Lincoln log type cabin. I'd have to buy the logs and have them brought in, and that would probably be expensive. I'm talking about just a shed type cabin, you know, and in fact, some of the time we may use it like a shed and work it that way. I'm not even going to put an indoor bathroom in here, but this spot we have picked out here is a 16 by 22, I believe, roughly. And so you would walk in, probably back here somewhere, we would have a little kitchen area, probably over there. If we were going to put a bathroom in, it'd probably be in that corner right there, or maybe this corner right here. And then the other section would be for a bed. So there should be plenty of room. But yeah, a couple of days ago, I dug down and I actually did hit clay at about 2.5 feet. So I'm sure that I can get some, you know, concrete piers, they call them. I can install piers. That's my plan for the foundation. And if any of you guys have building experience, I got a couple of questions. For one, is that going to be enough? My plan was to dig holes like that, and I'll probably have to dig them by hand, and then put a, I've got these 4-inch thick concrete squares that are like paver stones or something. And I was thinking I would put those down inside and then put the pier, the sonotube thing on top of that, and then pour the concrete. At least that's the plan. So that way it would have a nice base down there, and it would, you know, have a nice big foot down there. And I'm sure I'm going to have to put in, what did we determine? 9 or 12 piers, I would imagine, to support this building, this foot. And a lot of that depends on what type of soil you have, how big of the piers you're going to be using. And I'm not exactly sure. I've got a whole bunch of these that a buddy of mine gave me that were used to hold coils of metal. They're not actually designed to be concrete piers, but they could be used for that. The only problem is they're massive. I need to go over and measure one, in fact, before I leave. I saw on another YouTube channel a guy cut those down and made them work, so I might be able to do that. I might be able to cut a slot and cut 6 inches out of the side or something, and then wrap them with a ratchet strap or some wire or something that would hold it together while you were pouring the concrete. But yeah, before we lose our light, I need to show you this. This is the main reason I wanted to make the video, is while we're sitting here in the cabin, that will be our view down there to the pond. I'd say we're probably, just guessing, I'd say we're about 200 or 300 feet away from the pond there. That is a consideration if we were going to put plumbing in and a real septic. I think it's something like 1,300 feet you have to be away from that thing. So I'd have to probably run the septic way out that way to make it work. But I did have another idea. I told my wife, I was like, hey, we can just, make it like glamping and rough it, and we'll have a bucket to use the bathroom in. And the other factor is I'm only 20 minutes away or less to my suburb home. So I'm not that far away. But we did think about, to get you oriented here, this is back where we just walked in. This will kind of be the walkway into the place, and then the cabin will be up here. You'll see the big broad side of the building. But I'm not worried about drainage or anything like that, because the building is going to be elevated. I'm trying to leave the ground as undisturbed as possible up there. So that it holds. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about, and I told my wife I'd feel better if we were cutting the trees farther back, but she wants to keep the tree canopy. And I understand that. For shade, we're in a really hot climate here, so you definitely want to keep it as cool as possible, because it'll probably be off grid. I could run power over here, and maybe if I cut someplace out up here, up the hill somewhere, I could probably put some solar in. But as it stands right now, I'm in such thick woods that in the summertime, you're barely going to get any sun through there. But anyway, back to my point. As we walk up the hill from the pond, we walk up where we park the vehicle. That's what I see. Vehicle parking will be down here. That's close enough for me to move materials. I can move them up the hill here. The cabin will be over here. We're talking about building a little outdoor kitchen over here. And I was telling her, I was like, why not build an outdoor bathroom as well? And we could, you know, that's a little farther away from the pond over there, going that direction. And we could run the thing over that way, 1,300 feet or however far we have to, and have it that way, you know. Or frankly, we could go out a little farther and build the outdoor bathroom farther out. The only thing about that is it's less convenient, you know. And over here, any water that I had would be gray water, you know, so I wouldn't have to worry about that. It's just the toilet water you got to worry about. But anyway, that's just some ideas. I think this is the perfect spot for a cabin, right over here. And then maybe in the future, we'll build a little outdoor cooking facility because it is hot here. And you know, when I'm building something like this, I want to build it with the idea that if SHTF still comes and we get into some sort of nuclear war and, you know, the economy breaks, whatever it could cause it, you know, there's a number of different things that could happen. EMP, whatever. Maybe my wife and I have to bug out over here to the land. And I'd like to have a place, my dog's having a blast. I'd like to have a place up here where, you know, I can do that, where I can bug out and I'm not having to like camp out, you know. And one thing I like about this spot up here is it gives me a very good defendable line of sight right down that dam. So if anybody came walking across that dam, which is the easiest way to get through, I'm going to see them. And I've got a good little lane down through here, and it could be even better. I can make it even better if I need to. Of course, we're trying to keep it as concealed as possible also. But yeah, I could see in the future, you know, if I set it up right and it has plumbing and everything like that, I could see having... Whenever we build our house, we could use this little cabin like a guest house. If people come over and they want to stay, they'd probably love to wake up and have that view there, looking out at the pond. And while this is pretty much straight north, you'll have that nice east sun coming up in the morning and shining through there. And we do plan to clear, not clear, but thin some of this out so that it gives the chance for the better, more desirable species to thrive and grow and get big. But yeah, that's the biggest tree around. And even that guy, I trimmed a whole bunch of the small ones, cedars. We had a bunch of cedars all around it, and I trimmed it out. And as I thin those out, you're going to be able to see the water better. And it's just going to be a beautiful, peaceful place to hang out. Let me know what you guys think about my idea. Yeah, it is sandy, but I'm thinking if I put piers in deep enough and pack all this stuff back in the right way and use the sonotube things, to keep the concrete, you know, shaped properly, and rebar and all that stuff. If I do all that, I think I'll have a good foundation, good footing to start with. The only thing I'm not sure about are all these trees, the proximity of these trees. Now, they're all oak trees, but, you know, let me know in the comments. Do you think I need to clear it back some more? At least a few feet on, I would say this is about 5 feet here. And it's probably only 3 or 4 feet to that tree over there. And about the same here, 3 or 4 feet to that tree. And so, yeah, I'm thinking I need to come back in and take at least 2 or 3 more trees down. But it'll be worth it because then we'll have us a little cabin in the woods, and who doesn't want that? All right, guys, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think I ought to build up here. Appreciate you tuning in. Until then, we'll see you next time. Come on, Chloe. Where are you? Let's go. Chloe, come. Where are you? There she is. Good girl. All right, let's go.